There is undeniable proof that me and many other Arsenal fans can point to and ask the question on why aren't we being treated the same. Look, this isn't going to be a video of me coming to you guys in an emotional state and ranting and explaining why I'm so upset with how the game panned out yesterday, because it's not going to be that kind of video. I'm going to point to evidence, I'm going to give opinions, and I also want to open it up to get your guys' opinions and suggestions on how you thought about or what you thought about the game. Before we get into it though, just very quickly, if you could, just do me a favour and hit like on this video. So, Arsenal versus Man City, that turned out to be a crazy game. The best way I can explain it is crazy. And before I give you my opinion and show you why this game is even more crazy than you think it is, I just want to get your thoughts on the game. What do you make of it? Because I need suggestions. I need help trying to dissect it. I can't do it all by myself. So let me know what you thought about that game. And if you want, let me know your man of the match as well, because there's so many people to choose from and it's very difficult to single out one person. So, what proof is out there? Like, the main one I can point to, well, look, obviously Trossard got sent off crazy, right? Kovacic, the last time we played Man City, should have got a red card on the tackle against Odegaard. We know this because Howard Webb come out after the game and said something like it was a red card, and then he said, but the ref didn't want to ruin the game. So why in a game like why is the ref ruining this game? Why is it when it comes to Man City, referees can apply some initiative, can use their common sense, but when it comes to Arsenal, it's just, well, that's the letter of the law. The ref wasn't left with a choice. There's nothing else he can do. I'm sorry, but we can't do anything else. But when it comes to Man City, yeah, we don't want to ruin that game for them. We don't want to do this for Man City. You can kind of understand why there's 115 charges against Man City. Look, I will never come out and call corruption on this channel for obvious reasons. But I'm seeing so many people talk about it, and I can understand why. Man City always seem to get the benefit of the doubt. Why are they getting the rub of the green on every single decision? I've made a list of some of the things that Arsenal would 100% have been penalised for in this game. And it's actually laughable now. I'm so glad I didn't make this video after the game, because there would have been a lot more expressiveness in the way that I'm talking, okay? So, the first one is Doku in the first half undeniably kicks the ball when Arsenal were getting ready to take a free kick, right? So there's one thing. If you say Arsenal wouldn't have been penalised for that, you are absolutely crazy, because the evidence is out there to tell you that that would happen, right? So there's one. Next, how many times can the Man City players surround the ref without getting booked? I counted on one occasion there was 7 Man City players around the ref shouting in his face, and the ref didn't produce a booking. I think he did eventually to Bernardo Silva, because he was blatantly swearing in his face, and he only booked him for one of the 2 times that he done that. So there's another 2 reasons where Arsenal would absolutely have received bookings. We would have received red cards for it, 100%. The next one is, it's kind of funny when you're looking at it, but it's not when you're an Arsenal fan. Haaland, after they scored their winner, threw the ball at Gabriel's head. Like, he picked up the ball, threw it at the back of Gabriel's head. That's all fun and games in warfare. I understand it. But can you imagine if Gabriel done that? If Arsenal were scored the game to draw against City in the last minute and Gabriel grabbed the ball and threw it at the back of Haaland's head, Micheal Oliver would absolutely have been frothing at the mouth, ready to get... I probably would have ripped his shirt. The speed that he would have produced that red card to an Arsenal player if they had done any of the similar circumstances that we just discussed. 100% there seems to be... I don't know. I don't want to say it, but Micheal Oliver is the man of the match for Man City. If we're Arsenal and we're looking for a man of the match, you might have Timber, Calafiori, Gabriel, Havertz, David Raya. But if you're Man City, I would struggle to find a Man City fan out there that wouldn't pick the referee as the man of the match. I've seen it out there. I've seen, like, we're so thankful that we had this referee. Thank you so much for providing us Micheal Oliver in this game, because they wouldn't have stood a chance. Look, I've also made some notes about the game on a play-by-play. But before I get into all of that, I made a promise. I asked for everyone's score prediction before the game. Over 100 of you entered them, and we only had one person that guessed it correctly. There was one person, Steve, guessed the score correctly, and there's a frustration because this is actually my dad, so he's got bragging rights over me. So Steve, well done, you got the correct decision the correct result in this game. Look, I have an overwhelming feeling of pride by the way that Arsenal played in this game. Yesterday it was frustration mixed with pride, but now I'm like, how good were Arsenal? Like I said, I've got a play-by-play. I want to go through it. And then this is definitely a point where you guys can give your talking points. Let me know your thoughts on the main points that we're going to talk about in this video. So first of all, we saw no big Benedict Blanco on that starting right-hand side. Something we've seen so many times for the past 2 seasons. We always see Benny Blanks at right back. We didn't see it. There's a lot of suggestions out there of people saying that they're expecting Ben White to be phased out of this Arsenal team. That would 100% be the wrong idea. Ben White is a brilliant player. Is it tactical? Is it just Ben White does need to improve, so he just went with a different option? Look, I can't be mad at it. I said before the game, because there was rumblings of people saying maybe we need to drop Ben White. It happened. I said I wouldn't have gone for it. But when you see how good Calafiori and Timber can be in those positions, it just shows you the strength and depth that Arsenal had, how strong our backline is. And that was absolutely shown yesterday by the display we saw. And then playing out from the back, the previous 2 games against Tottenham and the game in the Champions League, we saw we was going long against Atalanta, always going long. We didn't want to play out from the back, and it was definitely a tactical thing because Spurs push high up, Atalanta push high up. Man City, we wanted to play. Arsenal seemed ready to play. We went to the Etihad. Many people say, oh, Arsenal don't want to play when they go to the Etihad. For the first half, we did. First 20 minutes, look, we struggled. Anyone can see that. Man City were on fire. They looked a very, very good outfit. But after 20 minutes, Arsenal kind of settled down and understood the rhythm of the game. We was like, guys, we can play. Why are we not playing? And we definitely saw that. After that, we started playing out from the back and we looked good. Then you had the Haaland goal. There was a few personnel errors in this game. Calafiori gets beat too easily. It can happen. Like, Savinho cuts in, and I thought he looks a very good player, to be fair, Savinho. I think he's got a big future ahead of him. Calafiori probably dragged slightly out of position. Partey definitely dragged slightly out of position. And Gabriel seemed to be dragged too far over as well. There was a huge gap because all it took was Savinho to knock it inside and then find a pass through the middle. Probably shouldn't be there. But again, you can't moan. Man City are going to have chances. They're going to be in a position where they create chances for themselves at home. They're the best team in the world, probably. Even though it's debatable after that performance yesterday. But after that, we had the Calafiori goal. And it was brilliant. Like, the celebration, you could just tell how much it meant to him. The fact he sprinted over to Mikel Arteta, give him a hug. Even the backroom staff were like just laughing because it was so crazy. I just loved everything about that goal. Martinelli, assist. A lot of us have been discussing Martinelli and saying, look, he probably needs to be dropped. I didn't say that because I think he offers so much defensively, but I understand you need a winger to be better than just good defensively, and he got his assist. He didn't get his goal, but I still think Martinelli is playing well, even though he's not producing those final outcomes, but it was just good for Martinelli to get an assist, and that Calafiori goal was something special. When he lined up to hit it with his left foot to curl it round into that corner, it's not a shot you see used too often. And, like, yeah, just a brilliant goal by Calafiori. And then we had an Arsenal corner, and we saw Gabriel come so close. Like, he just headed it over. And it was like, if he just got that on target, that might be the only chance we get. And that just goes to prove how good these Arsenal players are at adapting in situations, because we got another chance, and we're going to speak about that later. And then all over it is Martinelli's success at times against Walker. I think Martinelli was having success against Kyle Walker. I thought this was a good showing from Gabriel Martinelli. Some of you might disagree with me. Some of you might think, and I've seen opinion out there of people saying Martinelli had a stinker. I don't think he did. I thought he ran his socks off all game. I think he was forced to defend a lot, and I think that suits Gabriel Martinelli's game. I think he's very good defensively. So Gabriel Martinelli was at times having success over Kyle Walker, which historically in the past has been difficult for him. We know how strong, how quick Kyle Walker is, and there was a couple of times where Kyle Walker was clearly stronger than Gabriel Martinelli, and that's probably expected. But at times, Gabriel Martinelli was having some success against Kyle Walker, so that was good to see. And then we had the Gabriel goal. Oh, it was crazy. It was jubilation when he scored it. Like, just the fact that who was marking him? Was it Jeremy Doku was marking him at first? And then Kyle Walker walked over, giving it the big spuds, and said, "Don't worry, take yourself over there. I've got him. I've got Gabriel." And he was like digging him up the ribs, wasn't he? He was like doing this to him to try and put Gabriel off. And Gabriel just treated him like a child, sent him to the corner shop, went that way, rose, and just heads it home. And look, you got people moaning about Arsenal blocking the keeper. You see every single Premier League team doing that. They're just frustrated that Arsenal are better at set pieces than any other team in world football, if we're being honest. That goal was so good. Gabriel, I loved it. Arsenal were back in the game. And then you think, right, let's get to half-time. We're 2-1 up. We can come out in the second half, play our stuff, but just keep it fairly tight and compact. And when City open up and try and come onto us, then we can go and get the third goal. 3-1. Good night, Vienna. Game's put to bed. Boom. Arsenal. Top of the table. Or very, very close. But then you have Trossard sent off in an unexplainable decision. Like, people will always say, oh, he kicked... Like, it wasn't even for the foul. I would rather it have been for the foul on Bernardo Silva. Like, he kind of... Not shoves him in the back, but he shoulder barges Bernardo Silva in the back. Okay, fair enough. It was never a yellow card, but if it was for that, then I could kind of understand it. And the reason I'm so, like, feeling, quite hard done by is the fact he got it for booting the ball away. And it's an absolute lie. It never even happened. Like, he didn't boot the ball away. He was trying to clear it into an area that Gabriel Martinelli, Arsenal's fastest player, was an outlet for us. Gabriel Martinelli was over on the left-hand side of the pitch, pushing forward, and Trossard literally booted it towards the left-hand side of the pitch for Gabriel Martinelli to run onto and create a counter-attack. Listen or go back and watch the audio for that game. As soon as Micheal Oliver stops blowing the whistle, less than 1 second later, Trossard kicks the ball. Less than 1 second, he had to understand that that was a foul. Like, it was ridiculous. The fact that you can even send him off for that. It was just, like I said, it was Micheal Oliver helping City out. It was Micheal Oliver doing Man City a favour. That's the way that I can the only way that I can comprehend making that decision. It was absolutely crazy. And then after that, we saw what happened with the game. It kind of all blurred into one. Lucky I made talking points because it was just Arsenal sitting so deep at times, not even wanting to play. Like, if we received the ball at Ben White, we would usually have overlaps to help on the attack. We had none of that. Boot it out for a throw-in. Boot it out. Just get it up there. It was FIFA football, wasn't it? Last minute, sit deep, frustrate the opponent, and that's exactly what we saw. We had a back six, and then we had three in front of them, and it didn't shift. There were times where we was able to get the ball down there. We would go to the halfway line, and then when we lost the ball, the players would literally just turn around and sprint back into that defensive shape. And I'm so glad they did. Like, how good is it to have an Arsenal team that are this strong defensively? So many times in the past, Arsenal have been accused of being a team with a soft underbelly. Arsenal defensively are a shambles. Look how good my manager has made us defensively. Look at how strong Arsenal are the best defensive team in Europe. Mikel Arteta has created that. So I don't want to hear any more talk about Arteta isn't the right guy to take Arsenal forward. Are you watching football? Do you understand how difficult that is to go to Man City, the best team in the world in the last 10 years, and shut up shop with 10 men at the Etihad and only concede one goal? Look, carry on with the play-by-play. It's absolutely frustrating. Raya, some saves. Some huge saves again from David Raya. Haaland's chance. Guardiola's chance. Raya now performing like absolutely one of the best keepers in the world. So glad we got David Raya. Again, I made more note. Surrounding the ref. Again, it saw every time the ball went out of the play, the Man City players were surrounding the ref. And I was thinking, he's not going to book him. He's not going to, like, there's no point of me even wanting a yellow card because the ref will not produce one. And that's exactly what we saw. And then we had Timber limped off. We had a few players limped off. And what was even more annoying was Gary Neville was giving it the big one on the commentary. Oh, look at Timber. He's going down, wasting time. They can't be allowing this to happen. Calafiori going down, wasting time. We can't allow this to happen. And then 10 minutes later, they was both subbed off with an injury. Did Gary Neville apologise? No, of course he's not going to. It's like Gary Neville's a secret Man City fan. He hates Arsenal so much. Probably because it was the biggest rivalry in his time. It was Arsenal versus Man United. The fact that he sides with Man City when it was so clear that these players were carrying injuries because of the shift they was being asked to put on. Like the amount of concentration it takes to stay switched on for 55 minutes. is ridiculous. Jesus booked for not having a football boot on. He had no football boot on. Man City went to take the corner, and Gabriel Jesus put his leg out to say, "Well, can I at least put my trainer on first?" Like, Man City are trying to take a corner. Gabriel Jesus is basically off the pitch with no trainer, slipper off, and they still, like, I don't know. He still told, like, I think he got booked for saying 1 minute, can I just put my football boot on? Can you imagine if Arsenal tried to take a corner while there was a Man City player on the floor with no football boot on? Micheal Oliver probably would have invented a new card for that, because he would not have stood for that. And then you had the Stones goal. And it was frustrating because of the timing. Look, at the time, it was the last kick of the game. You're probably starting to think, oh my God, we've just beat Man City at the Etihad. This is an absolutely huge result. But in the context of the game, 2-2, a draw, I 100% would have took that before the game. If someone offered me a draw before the game, I would have took it. It was always going to be difficult. We was without our best player. We kind of got lucky with the fact that Rodri got injured after 20 minutes, and that looks like it might be a serious injury. So I'm going to pretend to not be too happy about that going forward, because Man City absolutely miss Rodri when he's not playing. So hopefully this gives Man City a chance to drop points in the future. Look, they would do it to us. They would want our players to get injured. I never want a player to get injured. But now that it's happened, I'm not going to pretend to be upset about it. I'm not going to wish him well, because he wouldn't do the same to us. So yeah, 2-2. What do I think of the result? I think it's good. Look, if Man City scored in the 70th minute or the 50th or the 60th minute to make it 2-2, and then Arsenal held on the rest of the game to get that draw, then we would have been looking at this slightly different and been saying, oh, what a result. It's just the fact that it came last kick in the game, over added time. They had over added time in the first half. That's when Trossard got sent off. They had over their added time in the second half. But that's just what you have to expect when you're coming to play City. No one is going to do you a favour when you're playing Man City. You have to go out there and do it yourself. And that's exactly what Arsenal done. And that's why I have an overwhelming feeling of pride toward this Arsenal team, toward this Arsenal manager. The tactics were spot on. We've done what we needed to do in the first half to get ourselves in a position to be winning the game. And the referee took that away from us. I don't know what else to say on it. Am I annoyed? Yes. Am I proud of the team? Yes. Am I happy with the result? All things considered, yes. We need to move on forward now. We've got a set of games that we can look to rest players and bring players back to fitness, and maybe try Sterling out, and maybe give Ethan Nwaneri and Lewis Skelly some more minutes in. But all in all, I'm happy. I want to know your guys' thoughts on the game. What do you think? What do you make of it? Can you try and break it down for me in the comment section so I can try read through it? Because I enjoyed reading about how other people saw or interpreted the game, because it's always going to be different. I think we can always all learn from each other, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about the game, so let me know in the comment section. Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, if you could, just do me the favour, hit like on this video, just like it and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.